Bees here on the Bloodstock podcast with Phil from Whitechapel. Phil, at the moment, who's your dog in the background? Let's get the important stuff out of the way first.
Oh, that's our boxer. That's Finn.
Finn,
Fynn. And yeah, it's a girl.
and is Finn your dog, or is this a studio dog? Because I know that that's what you're currently up to.
Oh no, this is my house. This is our dog. This is mine and my fiance. Well, it's technically my fiance's dog. Like I inherited her from her. Uh, from obviously being together. So
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean she's just a house pig pretty much.
So, as I just mentioned, in the studio at the moment with Whitechapel, are you still excited about making records?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think one thing we've done in our career is, we've kind of experimented around with our sound and everything. And, it's with this record, going back to the roots and just heavier sound and style is just, yeah, we're very excited for it. And we're very excited for people to hear it because this is a newer sound or not, well, an, an older sound, but just with a newer age to it. It was just really exciting for us to do, and I feel like we just took our old school style and just put the new age modern sound on it, and yeah, it's I'm very excited for people to hear this.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you're a band that still like to make artistic tweaks. Do you think that that's one of the reasons that I was astounded to see that it's just over 20 years as a band at this point for Whitechapel. But do you think that the fact that you're still making those artistic tweaks are reasons that people still care about your new work as opposed for just pining for the songs that have accumulated over those 20 years?
I suppose so. I think that our sound has evolved and changed, and different things have come out of every record, and it's uh it's just been a natural progression, and I think it's just definitely time for us to kind of go back to that classic sound that people know us for and discovered us as, and at the end of the day, that's our what our roots are. That's what we uh, wanted to write music as, is that heavy, aggressive sound, and yeah, that's what we did with this record. I mean, it's just straight brutality, just fast, heavy. And yeah, that's, I think people are going to appreciate that kind of return to form sound.
Is that a reaction to the more melodic directions taken on the Valley and Kin? Because something that I always thought that you guys did well on those records was that even though it lent more melodically, you kept things morose. There was still an overall darkness. It wasn't melody's sake to make things prettier. It just felt that was where the sound was going. Is this more a reaction to that? And have you had fun doing the melodic thing for the last couple of records?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. With the genre of deathcore, um, we went through the trials and tribulations of it. We were not the first, but one of the bands that were at the forefront of it. Of course, bands like Despised Icon, uh, All Shall Perish, Job, all those bands, we're kind of in that same realm as all those guys. And um, we went through the whole trial and tribulation period, whereas like it wasn't taken serious at one point. People hated it. Obviously, there was a fan base, but it was a very small niche of people. And over time, it's grown and it's bigger than it's ever been now. I mean, it's gigantic. But yeah, and we just thought, maybe we should try some other influences and, not just stick to one sound and experiment and see where it goes. And yeah, but I mean, now it's just like, we started to do it. We did it when it, this is going to sound stupid, but we did it when it wasn't cool. And, now it's like bigger than ever. And
Yeah.
we're just we're just like, man, like
But it's
why did no one like it whenever we were doing it before? And
but
then
it's But it's been a wild ride for deathcore.
mhm,
Like you say, when it first came out, and you mentioned all the bands, Job for a Cowboy, All Shall Perish, like what's it, As Blood Runs Black, yourselves, like when all of that thing was happening in the first place, it like you wouldn't have said that we would be sat here in 2024 saying, grunge only had a couple of years.
mhm,
When there was a couple of when there were bands making that sound, evolving it and whatever, right?
mhm.
Like deathcore at this point in time, we're 20 years into it, and you're very right to say that it's never been bigger than it has been right here, right now. What's it
Mhm.
been like watching that evolution from the inside? Because you've all, no matter what you've done with your sound, you've always fit as part of the deathcore family. Like, has it been? It's got to be quite surreal. 2 decades in.
Yeah, I mean it's been wild because I just again, yeah, it was what it was back in the day, and then it just exploded within the past 5 6 years. And it's been really cool seeing it because it's we're not the originators of it, but I feel like bands like Despised, Icon, All Shall Perish, and us, JFAC, and Suicide, we were laying down the blueprints for it. And not saying that it was everything we did was right, but we're trying to put it on the map. And because when it comes to metal, elitism can really sink into to genres, and subgenres and everything, and people can kind of gatekeep. And it's like it's so weird to me because I've said it before that metal is like one of the most accepting um genres of music out there, but it could also be one of the most judgmental and gatekeepy kind of genres that there is. But I feel like as time has gone on, that whole culture has started to, you know, let go of it and just embrace heavy music for what it is and stop, you know, gatekeeping. I mean, of course, there's
Yeah.
always going to be those people, but
What do you put that down to?
social media. I mean, it's 100% because we were a part of a social media movement, but MySpace wasn't really social media. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It was just a glorified message
But
board.
like a beta version of social
Yeah,
media.
yeah, it basically what it was. And then, Twitter came around, and then Instagram, and then YouTube finally, because I remember when YouTube was kind of like the small, like little um app on your phone that you'd kind of watch the videos sometimes on. And then now YouTube is like, I mean, it's for some people, it's their television.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
um, but yeah, and then of course, now the newest age is, TikTok. I personally am not a user of TikTok because I don't know, I just never really got into it, I guess, because the culture from that was kind of more of like dance videos of people like dancing and stuff, and I was just wasn't my thing. So I just kind of stuck to the more classic kind of stuff, Instagram, things like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, everything, all the social media platforms are incorporating their own type of TikTok kind of vibe. Like YouTube has YouTube Shorts, Instagram has Instagram Reels. It's all starting to like kind of be uh, universal within itself. I mean, obviously TikTok is the biggest one. That's where everything goes viral. That's where everyone ever sees all the new stuff. But 100%, it's definitely because of social media and people being able to be exposed to it. People that may have never even known that it existed. And yeah, I mean, it's a social media can be a blessing and a curse. And in this case, it's a blessing.
Yeah, it's what it like you would never when you look at culturally what TikTok is, and like you rightfully pointed out, when we look at music and what it's done, it's been those kind of like the dance craze type things that people most associate with it. But the role it's played in the explosion of deathcore, and like you're going out on tour here in the US with Lorna Shore, those
Hmm.
dates are all selling like there are a sizable chunk of your dates that are
Hmm.
already sold out in less than a week of being on sale.
Hmm.
Like you would never in a million years put TikTok down as one of the key reasons that we are here having this conversation about that very thing.
Hmm.
Wild. Like
Hmm.
where and while it's worked for some bands, what's it been like for Whitechapel? Like you say, you're not a user yourself. You're a band that are 20 years in. Like what is your take on the kind of the rise of TikTok? Because from where I sit, like I've been in the media for 20 years doing this sort of thing. And it's bizarre to me that now, like someone in their bedroom making a cool transition can do more for a band in trying to get their message out there than something like what we're doing now.
Yeah, there's a lot of that goes into that question because it's again, it's like the biggest thing that, and another thing is not just the platform of TikTok, it's also just the influencers that are doing it. Like I did something with Nick Nocturnal yesterday, and
Yeah,
he's a big culprit of exposing bands to other people. Um, there's people that are just, and there some of these influencers are just bigger than the bands themselves. It's like it's weird. It's like the media is starting to become bigger than the artist.
mm,
Um, but it's but again, I think it's just kind of weird too because I'm in this day and age, it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way because for me, it's you have to just be active and you have to be like present and relevant and keep yourself out there and like posting stuff, doing this, that, and the other. And I'm kind of the opposite kind of person. I don't, I'm not a look at me person. I don't really care about spotlight. Again, I'm in a profession that requires you to kind of have a spotlight mentality, and I just don't. I just
yeah,
never will. Um, I just love creating the music. And again, like I think the new TikTok and like social media stuff is great. And starting a band is easier than it's ever been. But I also don't like that you can't just make the music and let the music speak for itself and, do it that way. It's like, because it's almost like if you don't stay on social media, then everyone's just going to be like, and forget about you. So it's a weird game we're in right now
yeah.
because the internet is everything. It's literally everything. It's everything to everyone. It's our everyday lives. Everyone that has I mean, everyone has a smartphone now. It's just what our lives are now is uh it's because we come from the days of just the internet, and
Yeah.
now it's just the age of social media. Like that is
No.
that is everything of the internet. Social media is the king of the internet right now.
And like so there's two quick lanes that I want to take that. One is that it makes something like Sleep Token fascinating. Uh,
Hmm.
to have blown up in the way that they have while doing the exact opposite to all of the rules that you quite rightly just set out. Like which I guess is a kind of cool thing for a band like Whitechapel that you don't want to be in that arms race, and I don't blame you. Like
Hmm.
you're a band, you do this thing, you've built a legacy for it. Like it feels beneath you to be on TikTok going, "Hey, this is what I had for breakfast. Please listen to our new music."
Hmm.
Um, and the flip side of that is, do you find a way to circumnavigate that yourself, being someone that's more interested in the art? Is that why you do tracks with Spite and doing a track with, you mentioned Nick Nocturnal, and I know you did one of the tracks on his Termina project last year. Is that a way of being able to be in the attention arms race without having to enter the the TikTok ball pit?
Yeah, I mean, anything that I ever do, it's usually it's going to be with someone I know and have met and, like what they do. And also with, Spite, I love Darius. Same thing with Shadow of Intent. I love Ben Doer. Like, I've toured with those guys, I've met them, and I like what they do. There's I will obviously
Human
want.
beings who mean it on both
Yeah.
of their cases as well, like really mean it.
Yeah, yeah. And see, that's the thing is like, that's the kind of stuff I'm into, is just like the stuff that's like, I know that when they go in the studio and they scream the shit they scream, like they mean what they say and it's real. And whether it's just from a real life frame of, or a real life lens or a supernatural lens, um, they go in there and they mean what they say and they have a lot of passion in what they write. And I can pretty much hear it in people. Like, I don't even have to meet some of these people, and I can just hear it in their voice. One band that I hear it from, and I've talked to the guys in the band, or one of the guys in the band, one of the singers is Orphan. That band is like, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Is just like the real, just the emotion behind what they're saying is just like, whether it's negative or positive or whatever. Those guys are, that's what I'm looking for. And I just like the more serious kind of like vibe, and like, um, just mean and evil. That's my vibe. That's what I like.
Is that what you're currently writing as well? Because like you've got to be at the tail end of writing this new record. Is that
Oh,
a
it's
general?
done.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we sit here with the record finished, is that a general theme that you've been stuck on this one? Just a general in the more negative space?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I've always taken
Yeah.
into what I write. But the last couple albums have been um more like, you know, I guess I would say more emotional on like the just like humanity side. Like, it was like real life stuff. Um, a lot of the stuff that we do and have done has been more of a supernatural vibe to it.
Mm.
But these are things that I'm coming up with, like stories of my own, uh, stories I'm just making up, and but they're things that I'm thinking about. Um, but yeah, this I in this the newest album, it's definitely just old school, like just I mean, I have a whole concept behind it, and kind of like it's a direct continuation of our second album story. Like, lyrically, it's supposed to be a sequel to This Is Exile. Well, that's what it is, but it's yeah, it's just I think people are gonna be happy with this one.
And what made This Is Exile the record that you wanted to reference?
I guess that was kind of like, people consider that like, uh I guess like the magnum opus of our career. It was like the I guess people say it's like, a just at this point, a classic deathcore album. And it's a, not toot my own horn, but it's a very beloved album from people that
Yeah.
love us. And yeah, I mean, the story behind that is just a very like dark and evil story, and I just thought it'd be cool to just kind of have a continuation of it, just like a part two of like a classic. Usually that's kind of doesn't really go the way, especially like in movies. Sometimes they'll make part two of a movie that everyone loves, and part two just ends up sucking. But I don't think that's the case here. This is us with the old school vibes, and just like just being, I guess, 20 years old again, 22 years old again, however old we were whenever we were doing that kind of music.
And is that a case of relating to yourself more musically than it is like on a personal level? Or is it
Um,
all encompassing?
all encompassing, I would say. I mean, we've just been doing it for so long. We've been through the highs, we've been through the lows, we've been through uh the times where we're just not, we're just not clicking with the music, or we're just, because every band is going to put out something that's just like, it's not as good as what they did before or what they're going to do after this. But it's just part of it. It's just, I mean, there's so many bands like us out there, and it's just like becoming original starts to become almost impossible at times. It's just
Mm.
like how many more, you know, breakdown, rhythms can you write? How many more riffs can you write that don't sound like this? Or it's just, and I think a lot of it is just, what sets you apart is whenever you can put on a record and then just be like, oh, I know who that is for
Yeah,
sure. That's
100%.
that's definitely who that is. Like, it's, like back in the day, I mean, you didn't have to know Pantera had a new album to know that it was Pantera.
Yeah. The
It's
second you
just
hear
stuff
that
like that.
guitar tone and groove, there it is.
Yeah. I think that's just, again, within metal. And yeah, obviously you can come up with original stuff. Like, I think I did a few things on this record that I feel like is, I don't know, maybe it's been done before, but from my knowledge, I don't think it has been. Um, but there's a few things I tried to do to, just do something fresh and something new. Maybe, whether maybe it's gimmicky. I'm not sure, but it's not like it's, for me, it serves a purpose.
Yeah. And even if it hasn't been done before in the wider world, it's new for you. Which
Exactly.
which 20 years in, challenging yourself, like I always think that the biggest credit that you can give a band when they're 20 years in is when they're not on autopilot and just copy and
hmm
paste in a new record so they could go on tour and play the hits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we put our heart and soul in this one. It's yeah, it was refreshing to do. I mean, like, I've always loved writing the records that we've done, but like I've never been as excited to write a record than this one, because I actually wrote a lot of the riffs on this album. And you know, I write some riffs, but like I kind of give it to our guitar players and just say like, hey, make this a little bit more interesting, but this is the basic
Yeah.
idea. Some of them kind of stuck the way that I wrote them, but I definitely just say like, hey, this is what the idea is. Take it and, you know, spice it up a little bit. Put your little toppings on it, and you know. But yeah, I mean, because that's what I did for Somatic Defilement, our first album ever. Is just like I was just writing a bunch of just riffs and just, yeah. I wrote more riffs on this than I have on any record. So
It,
I put in a lot of work for this.
it's a weird question to ask, but is there a bigger amount of excitement when you're making a record, knowing that there's going to be more eyes and ears on it than ever before? Like you're so right in talking about where deathcore is right now, and that there's sizable bands and like a bigger audience that is going to take in the new Whitechapel record than ever before. Does that add anything to the making of a record, or are you just kind of on your own path regardless?
I think, I mean, I'd be lying to say that, it doesn't have any effect on it at all.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just the journey of making the record and going through the processes of doing it. Uh, I get my satisfaction there, just creating it. And then, if people end up loving it, then that's just the cherry on top. But yeah, just going through the creative process and being able to have a job to be able to do that is kind of like the goal in and of itself. Obviously we want people to love it and, buy the record and come to the shows and, buy shirts and, we're here to, this is how we make a living. So,
Yeah.
that's we obviously want that, but when it comes down to just like the the meat of it, I guess, it's just being able to do it is just the real gift, I guess.
And so I mentioned it earlier before we get to festivals and Bloodstock itself, that you're touring with Lorna Shore in the States here later on this year, and that those dates are selling out. Can I ask you about that band's influence on all of this? Because when like, it's impossible to not think of To the Hellfire when you talk about or when we discuss TikTok and that thing happening. Like, has that band been a help to everyone in that pocket of heavy music?
I think that they've definitely brought more eyes and ears. As far
Yeah.
as like a personal influence on us, to do a heavy album, no.
No, of course not.
Um,
Yeah. I meant more just in a broader sense than directly to Whitechapel.
yeah, I mean, they're like I mean, they've been around for, 2012, 13, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not a new band.
Uh-huh.
And they've been grinding it out and, touring, writing records, just doing the, kind of the status quo of what any band would do. But yeah, I mean, they had a moment and it just exploded them. And, it's just like, I mean, how could you hate that? That's, good for them. I mean, and it only helps
And for
the,
everyone else, yeah.
yeah, it only helps the genre. And, yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like you just see it, because when you see it, you're just like, what the hell? Like, yeah, I've known who they've been a band for
Yeah.
a while, and then they just all of a sudden they're just like, doing their thing, coasting along, and then just bam.
Yeah.
And like, that's awesome. I mean, that's what every band is, hoping that happen to them. And it's just like it's
And you
again,
feel
it's
it
just
could be
the
any band after that. You feel like it
yeah.
could be any band because, like you say, they were a band on the circuit like every other band, and then kablam out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I mean, I think um his Will, the guy that came in and became their new singer, he had his own stuff that he was doing and people loved it. And he's from what I've seen, he's pretty charismatic. And just a person that people like to watch. And um just their whole dynamic has just worked really well for him. And more power to him. I mean, just roll with it. And just do what you do. And if people love it as much as they do, then that's just a bonus for you guys. So, but it also, again, the genre is bigger than it's ever been because of stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. And so, what are the best and worst things about doing festivals, Phil? You're going to be on the festival circuit this summer.
hmm Um, I mean, when it comes to, I mean, especially like European festivals, there's not really anything you can say about them that are bad. I mean, to be honest, I feel like Europe does the festival uh atmosphere better than anyone. Um, because I mean, it's been going on for forever now. And just the hospitality, just everything about it. It's just, American festivals are great too, but there's just something about European festivals that are just, I don't know, they're just ran really well. And everything's just, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I mean, um I guess the worst part about it is just the travel, getting there. And
Yeah.
but I mean, that's not even really bad. I mean, that's just part of it. It's what you sign up for. But as far as the others, like festivals and stuff, I mean, I really have nothing bad to say.
I think since I've been in the US for 7 years, and I would say the biggest difference between US festivals and European festivals is the European ones feel like events, and the US ones feel like a date on a tour at the moment. It feels
Mm,
like because they're still building that history and that heritage and that kids growing up wanting to headline insert festival here, like, is a newer prospect
hmm
out here.
Yeah, I mean yeah, it's kind of like Wacken in Germany.
Yeah,
It's like there's people that go to that don't even like the music. They just go there because that's just what you do.
yeah,
It's like it's just a cultural thing for them. Like it's
yeah,
and it's like 100,000 people every year. And yeah, again, it's just a culture thing more than anything. over there. It's over in Europe. It's just over here. Yeah, like you said, it feels like a date on a tour, and I mean that's a perfect way to put it. It's just, but over there, it's like it's a spectacle. It's an
Yeah.
event. It's a big deal, and
And
I
so,
think they're getting
yeah.
good. They're getting better with it here.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Like you can feel it building year on year. Like the
Hmm.
size of the bands, that reunion shows are going to start taking place at the festivals here first, and that kind of thing. And here at Bloodstock, we're another a festival where people trust Bloodstock year in year out enough over the 23 years we've been a festival.
Hmm.
Yeah, it feels like people buy their tickets regardless. Are
Hmm.
you excited about coming to Bloodstock this summer?
Absolutely. I mean, it's yeah, we've done that. We've done it what, like 3 times now, maybe 4 if my memory serves me correct. But yeah, I mean, it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Again, it's just a growth thing for and yeah, I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's in the UK or in mainland Europe. It's just they all operate on the same plane. It's just like it's just again, it's just ran so well and just I don't know. I think that whole part of the world just has festivals down because and especially like in other parts of the world too, like that's just all they really have. They don't really have tours that they do, like they have was it in Jakarta they have Sonosphere or I don't remember. They have
Yeah,
like the same kind of stuff going on in other parts of the world. And because America has just got tour after tour after tour after tour. It's just like, oh, if I miss them this time, I can just catch them the next time. And it's like,
yeah,
I mean, but Europe is still like again, you over there, they're getting these bands as much as the US is now. So, but I don't know. There's just a different vibe between European and American crowds. I just think that I feel like I'm from America, so I can kind of, throw a little shade, but like I think
yeah,
Americans are a little bit, yeah, kind of just all they're caring about is filming it and posting it on YouTube and just looking at their phone. And I mean, of course you have that everywhere, like Europe, and even other parts of the world, but it's not as like prominent over there. Uh, and I don't know, I can't really fathom going to see a show. This is just me, maybe I just don't understand it, but just going to a show and staring at it through your phone the entire time.
yeah.
I think it's like you're just it's a waste of an experience.
A live event is an exchange of energy, like
Hmm.
band on stage giving it some and fans doing the same. Like
Yeah.
to watch that through your phone is to miss the experience entirely.
Well, I think it boils down to just the privilege of certain parts of the world that they get it all
Fair.
the time. So they're just like, I'll record it this time, and next time they come through, I won't, and I'll just watch it. I mean, it's just kind of
Yeah,
like, I guess, but it's still at the same time. Like, when we went on tour with Meshuggah here, like, anytime I watched him, I literally didn't even never touched my phone. I was
yeah.
just like, just
Mesmerized.
glued. Like, and I don't know. I guess I just come from a time where I just don't want to do it. I don't know. It's just a cultural thing now. I
Agreed.
think people
Yeah,
just
generational. Yeah,
there's people that want to record it and just post it on the internet and maybe get some views and maybe like possibly get it monetized and to get some money for it or something. It's like I get it, but I don't know. For me, I think if you're it's kind of like going to a movie theater and then like being on your phone the whole time. It's just like, what are you doing there if you're gonna
yeah,
do that?
yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Is there any chance that we hear new music this summer?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're planning on getting a single out before the Lorna Shore tour, so it's gonna be probably like tail end of summer, like right before fall hits or something.
All right,
That's the
Phil.
plan. I
Thanks.
don't have any dates, but
That's all right. We're like it's legally binding now. You've said it on a podcast. Phil, cheers for your time today, man.
yeah, no problem.